Today, two petitions aimed at changing the law around the sale and use of fireworks are going to be debated in Parliament, as concern keeps mounting about the damage these colourful explosives, which is what they are, have caused.
Yeah, explosives being the key word. Campaigners say they're not out to spoil people's fun, but they do want tighter regulations put in place. We're going to be speaking to Alan Smith and Joanna Barnett. Both know the negative and tragic impact of fireworks, who are calling for changes. Here's Lorna Shaddick with the story.
This is Roxy, the red panda. Vets at Edinburgh Zoo blamed fireworks and the terror they caused for her death last month at just 3 months old. And it's an issue for anyone with pets. The RSPCA says 55% of pet owners dread the fireworks season each year. The biggest problem, just how loud fireworks are. The noise at a large sporting event, that's around 85 decibels, can damage human hearing. But a single firework can hit 140 decibels, louder than a plane taking off, and it risks instant damage to our ears. This year, there's already been a 13% increase in the number of calls to the emergency services about fireworks. And with the festive season just getting started, that number is expected to rise.
OK, that's the background. Joining us now is Alan Smith, who started his petition after his mother tragically died in 2021 when her letterbox was stuffed with a lit firework. And Joanna Barnett, who lost her beloved horse that she'd had for many years after being spooked by fireworks last New Year's Eve. So it's not just, you know, bonfire night time, and it's New Year as well, and other times as well. Let's start with you. Your poor mother. What exactly happened?
So, the two boys literally bought fireworks from a fireworks shop locally, walked down the road terrorising people, as they said they were going to in the shop, and ended up just putting one through my mum's letterbox. And we all rushed round and arrived at the scene, and it was just a horrific scene, you know. And
what happened? So they pushed it through?
They pushed it through the letterbox, and it ignited, and part of it went into a kitchen and set fire to a washing basket, and it smouldered for about 2 hours, really, before anybody realised what had happened. The locals could smell the smoke. Nobody really knew where the fire was, so it was smouldering before anybody, you know, for a long while before anybody really realised what was going on.
What time of night was it?
It was about 9 p.m, something like that. So
what happened to your mother?
She died of smoke inhalation.
Oh.
Yeah, she was brought out the building where we were all there, and she worked on the street for, 20 minutes, and she was on the pavement till 4 a.m, you know.
And they couldn't bring her back?
No.
How old was she?
She was 88. She'd have been 91 this year.
Had a good life?
She had a great life, lived in Haroldwood all of her life, and loved by everybody, no enemies, you know. She was wonderful, but, sadly, these two idiots decided to ruin our lives, really.
Well, you say idiots, that's almost a kind word of describing them.
I think they were just idiots, to be honest. I don't want to think of them as being malicious, because it doesn't really help, you know. I think they were just silly boys putting a firework through a letterbox. It was a blacked-out house. I think if I thought that they did it deliberately, I don't think that would help with any of our mental health, really.
How old were the boys?
15 and 18.
So the law on fireworks is that they can't be sold to anyone under the age...
under the age of 18.
18.
Yeah.
So
but
at least one of them bought them legally.
Yeah, they did. They were identified correctly in the shop initially, and then as the banter went on between themselves and the guy selling the fireworks, they said they were going to terrorise people. They said they wanted to throw them at the police.
It was caught on CCTV.
It's on CCTV, and it's available online if you're interested. It's quite shocking. And they said what they were going to do. And then, obviously, it got lost in translation, and he sold the fireworks to the 15-year-old as well.
Yeah.
You know.
So it just goes to show the law is not enough.
It's not enough.
In your mind.
It's not enough.
Clearly. No. I mean, fireworks should be sold to people who want to have a fun and do a fireworks display.
Absolutely,
effectively, what, in your mind, what was that shopkeeper selling to those teenagers?
He's selling explosives.
Yes.
I mean, the individual little packs of fireworks are £8.99. You know, if you buy display packs that you're going to enjoy in your garden as a family, you buy these individual things, you're only really buying them, I think, to terrorise people with. You know, I think people should be able to enjoy fireworks in their gardens, with their families at the correct times of the year.
And what time of year? What kind of date?
This was the 28th of October, so it was the build-up.
But it was in the run-up to the fireworks night, wasn't it?
Was in its full splendour.
Joanna, you've also had a devastating loss. Your wonderful horse
Yes, Tallulah.
bolted because of a firework. Just tell us what happened in that case.
Gosh.
What time of year? And it was New Year's Eve, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd owned Tallulah for 18 years, so I'd had her from when she was a youngster. I rescued her. I did everything with her. She even came to my wedding.
Wow,
yeah, my friends
really?
brought her. She was there for every moment. She was a horse of a lifetime and a true friend. And I was woken up quite early with a phone call on New Year's Day. I'd gone to bed because the weather was atrocious. The wind was howling like the storm we've had this weekend.
And where was she at that point?
At home. We've got a little stable and some space at home.
So she was stabled?
Yeah, she was out. She lives out, but she's got access to a stable. She was not an in-horse. And with fireworks, you should always keep them how they're usually kept. You shouldn't change their routine.
So she was in the paddock?
She was in her little space and she was quite happy. I went and checked on her. The weather was awful and I thought, no one's going to set fireworks off here. I live in a rural village, Outward, in Surrey, and it is, you know, there's farms, there's wildlife, and I did not expect...
Why would you worry?
No, exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, you assume people will do the right thing, and also it made no sense to set off fireworks in the rain and wind. And I got a call the next morning to say, from a horsey friend, to say they had found a horse that matched her description. And I said, that can't be her. She's safe. She's in her paddock. You know, it's a safe enclosure. And I ran out to check her, and the fence was all smashed up. She had run straight through a solid wooden fence. It turned out she had got onto the road, and my husband and kids and I thought, right, we'll go and we'll find her. I got her a bucket of feed and a head collar. Stupidly thought she would just be loose, but when I got there, she was lying in the middle of the road. The police were there. She'd collapsed through exhaustion. Oh. She probably had internal injuries. Yeah, it was truly horrific.
So she was literally frightened to death?
Yeah, we did manage to get her up. We got her home, and the emergency vets are incredible. They started treatment straight away for colic, which it's gross, but they do a rectal. They give them fluids. You have to help them. It's not like hospital. You actually have to help the vet do it, put the fluids down their throat. We gave her painkillers and sedatives, and, you know, we hoped that she might make a recovery, but basically by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it was clear the suffering was horrific. No painkillers would stop the pain she was in. She was lying there dying, and I, you know, had to do the right thing by her.
Oh.
And let her go.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only kind thing you can do, all for a few minutes of fireworks.
And was the fireworks that killed your horse?
Yep.
By shocking her so badly that she bolted?
Yep.
And you had to end her life because
Yeah.
of the pain she was in. Were they individuals around in the area, or was that an official display, or
No.
do you know very much about the source of them?
Yes, there were people close by that were setting off fireworks at home displays. And to be fair to them, they probably had no idea. They probably, I'd like to say ignorant, because they probably didn't realise the harm that they could cause. And the thing is, the fireworks were probably legally purchased.
Yes.
It's not, you know, it's a different scenario.
This is interesting. So what happened wasn't a result of a malicious intention,
No.
like stuffing stuff through a letterbox
No.
to your poor mother. It was the byproduct
Yeah.
of a perfectly legitimate garden display.
Yeah.
So
Right.
what would you both like to change? Alan, what would your advice to MPs today be on changing the law on fireworks? Because currently, anyone over the age of 18 can go and buy one. There's a set period of time when you can't let them off during the day, as I understand.
Only from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So you can let them off that entire window, which is crazy. I think
It's too much.
Yeah, I don't understand why anybody would want to let fireworks off at 7 a.m. And they do go off,
Yeah.
don't they? You
Damn
hear
well
them on
they
the
do.
social media. People setting fireworks
Yeah.
off at 7 a.m.
So what do you want to happen?
I want to see just legislation tightened up. I want to see people not letting fireworks off randomly and indiscriminately throughout the year. I want to see people using fireworks and enjoying them on key dates throughout the year, and potentially, ideally, just organised displays only. I don't really understand.
That wouldn't have protected your horse, would it?
No, I think, for me, the only change that I can see that would protect wildlife, people, you know, livestock, everyone forgets about the wildlife and livestock, and pets, of course, and domestic animals, is to make it organised displays only. You know, licensed, insured, where you've got forewarning, you can plan, you can be with your animals, you can take steps. No one wants to stop people from having fun. I mean, I appreciate people want to see fireworks, and I don't want to be a killjoy and stop people from having fun. But I think, honestly, if they could see the harm, and if that horse was in front of them, suffering and dying, while they were setting them off, they'd probably think a little bit differently.
Yeah, if you'd known that there were going to be displays within hearing of your poor horse, What would you have done if... I mean, supposing there'd been an organised display and you'd known about it, what would you have done with your horse?
Yeah, good question. So an organised display, we have one locally in a pub in our village every year, and I know what time it is, I can stand with them. I can't necessarily change their fear or panic, but I can stand with them and reassure them. I mean, you can hope for the best, basically, because you can't sedate a horse all the time. You know, you have to... It's horse tranquilizers. You have to get them from the vet. They're powerful sedatives.
So you'd have been there to gentle her?
Yeah, to calm them. But, I mean, honestly, I just think the harm so much outweighs the positive, and I would like policymakers to do the right thing.
Well, Alan, one of these petitions that's being debated is yours. So, you know, we'll see if MPs do anything as a result today. The two youngsters were found guilty of manslaughter and arson, and the former shopkeeper was handed a suspended sentence after pleading guilty to 2 counts of selling fireworks to the underage youngster as well. You'd just rather have your mum, wouldn't you?
That's what I was saying in the room just now. I'd rather not have ever met any of you personally.
Exactly
right.
No.
But, you know, we're sort of here to make change, aren't we?
Yeah, some good has to come of this.
Absolutely.
Like, it can't keep happening, can it?
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Well, you speak very powerfully. Thank you both very much for coming in.
Thank you for the opportunity.